Hi, I'm Nicole Morin. I'm currently a student at Wamogo Regional High School, and I'm also a volunteer here at the White Memorial Research Program. This here is Nature's Window, and I did a segment about curious chewing, which are the mammal marks on different types of bone. Also, you'll notice here on black walnut, there are some chewings, and we know that those are from the red squirrels, seeing as they're the only ones who have strong enough jaws to crack those suckers open. This is actually my first display, so I was very proud to see it all come together in the way that it is. And if you notice, even up here, these animals will go as far as chewing on metal. There's little scrape marks here, and really around the R. It's very prominent. This piece of bone here, we've actually decided is a hip bone, or a pelvic region of a large mammal such as a cow. You'll notice all around the edges there's tons and tons of chew marks, and those come from field mice, squirrels, to all sorts of rodents that live around this area. Here we have the chewing of an alder branch. This most likely was done by a beaver. You can kind of tell by the size of the teeth marks. They seem to be a little bit wider, which kind of demonstrates a wider tooth as opposed to something as skinny as a gray squirrel. And if we follow down over here, you can look at the ends, and right down to the very tips they've been totally sawed off by these animals chewing. And you can see that this antler is actually very old, and we've had this for quite some time here in the museum, but very good piece to demonstrate a lot of chewing. This here seems to be a piece of vertebrae, I would assume, from maybe a deer, just like this deer skull here. All around the edges we have more markings of teeth, and might not exactly look like a deer skull seeing as we're missing the front half, but right here we have the beginnings of antlers. It looks like a juvenile male, and all around it looks absolutely whittled down. Over time it's been so worn down from the rodent chews and natural decomposition, as you can see, that, like I said, it doesn't even look like a deer skull when I first saw it. Here you see a skull of a gray squirrel. As I mentioned before, the teeth are much thinner, so they're able to get into nuts very easily. This here is your classic acorn. You can see how he was chewing at this part to get to the yummy nut inside. And very similar to the gray squirrel's teeth makeup, we have the beaver skull. Like I mentioned before, the teeth are much wider, and it shows much bigger marks, like I mentioned on the alder branch. Beavers, they don't tend to chew on bone as much as squirrels and mice would, but more so trees, like you'll see in our old growth forests.